I thought was kind of overlooked, because I thought he played the team-focused play. He did his job in team fights. That was the best Koro we've seen so far this series.
I agree with you, and I will also say, Freak, that this just kind of adds some flavor to the ROX Tigers story. Instead of being that unbeatable powerhouse from Korea, we know the way the ROX Tigers play. They play a little loose. They play some fun games sometimes. That one got a little bit away from them. I think we'll see a return to normalcy in this draft, and as the desk was talking about, would we see an Aurelion Sol first pick? How about we just see no Aurelion Sol and also no Zyra?
Yeah, I think a lot of smart bans here in this one, especially after ROX Tigers graciously banned the Nidalee themselves. So those two super scary Peanut champions. Also keep in mind the Rex side that's been banned every single game by ROX Tigers as well will continue to do so. So several junglers still off the table, but that Caitlyn's still all important.
Really love that Caitlyn pick right now. You can pick the Jhin against it, because that's really the best AD carry in meta against it in lane, but it still doesn't even win lane. The interesting thing here is they know they can get the Jhin later, and the Karma with the Zyra band is the pushing support. So maybe we see a return to Nami, but that wouldn't need to happen until later in the draft.
Finally see the predicted first ever competitive game from Peanut on this Olaf. First sighting of it, has never played it before in his short career, so has been playing a lot in solo queue. It was Lee Sin by far most played. Olaf bringing up the rear at second place, and maybe we'll see the reverse matchup here of the last game.
Yeah, we see some gasps from the audience, but you're looking at the junglers that aren't available, and Clearlove doesn't have too many options. They want him probably on something that has a little bit of tankiness. Instead of going with the Graves or the Hecarim, those would be his other two options, I would feel.
Right, there's a lot of versions of jungle he can play. He can play a later game tank team fighter like a Hecarim or a Skarner. He can play one of those sort of marksman carries like a Graves or maybe even a Kindred, or some early pressure like this Lee Sin could afford him, which seems to be the hover and seems to be the play. You mentioned the Nami, and it seems like that's going to be the pick, as EDG don't want to show either solo lane.
Exactly, because ROX haven't shown either of their solo lanes, EDG doesn't want to show any of theirs. They want to have the option of the counter pick. They banned away the Aurelion Sol. Would not be too surprised if we see a rise here from Kuro.
Could also see a Victor. Maybe it's time to go back on Ultra Comfort. They have the Karma to help with wave clear against whatever Caitlyn is paired with. I guess it's the Nami, so something else to help the wave clear game. Victor, as associated with Kuro as it is with Crown, so would not be that surprising, and would leave last pick to potentially be something special for Smeb.
Yeah, the Jhin would be the AD carry pick for them. They definitely discuss this.
Still going to be the Rise, sought after and highly important. And Edward Gaming, of course, had the chance to pick it themselves. Unless they were worried about a Karma Flex pick and the Nami being stolen away, had the option to take Rise away from Kuro as they had in the earlier games. Didn't do so, so they must have something prepared.
Yeah, you can definitely kind of feel this series meta starting to find itself. So the picks were becoming a little bit more predictable for the ROX Tigers, but now what's surprising is even though the Jace had been so effective for Smeb earlier, it falls all the way down in the draft phase. But the question would be, hey, do they trust Core with it? Probably not. Remember though, Scout has practiced a lot of Jace in solo queue, so they do have their options open, and they don't think Rise can punish the Jace laning phase, and it could actually let him go tier Jace in scale.
Yeah, Kuro was actually one of the mid lane Jaces, played that in the first game of the tournament for ROX against Albus Nox that they won, but has almost exclusively been a top lane pick subsequently. However, taking it away from last pick status does relieve some pressure here from Koro, and I guess it has to be the undefeated, for ROX Tigers at least, Kennen for Smeb.
Yeah.
All right. A lot of damage here in all these roles now. This is going to be a very fun champ select. Once again, only a single tank for ROX Tigers. That's the Olaf, and really none to speak of for EDG as well. Clearlove going to build at least a little bit of damage.
Yeah, so much of this is actually going to revolve around whether or not Deft and Mako can get a foothold in the bottom lane, and if they can absorb the ganks. Because we know Kuro can roam down to the bottom side against Jace, who most likely is starting tier, teleporting Kennen. Olaf has been much more effective as far as Pina has been much more effective than Clearlove this tournament. So that's a party in the bottom lane that's going to be trying to stop Def from Mako from pushing.
And last time we saw that Kennen from Smeb, of course, it was that explosive late game team fight where he did more damage than you could ever expect from a Kennen. And he looked down the lineup from EDG. This is a flankable team, so if they ever get the sort of aggressive vision that ROX will be looking for, definitely a team ripe to be exploded by the Kennen.
Especially if you manage to get through the exhaust of Mako, you know that the exhaust will have a longer cooldown than Slicing Maelstrom, so round 2 might be all you need to knock that one down. Of course, you expect the Locket coming out as well, but yeah, it's a bunch of very squishy teams with explosive damage up, but Jace can take half a health bar down. A Rumble Equalizer can do almost as much as Slicing Maelstrom can as well. and we've already seen what Deft's Caitlyn can do against all of ROX Tigers. Now, there's definitely playmaking tools as well. You've still got a Karma Olaf here on the side of ROX Tigers. You can definitely break things down. We've seen how good Kuro's Rise flanks are as well, and it's going to be an incredibly fun, very explosive game, and it is still Edward Gaming back against the wall, and it's double match point still for ROX Tigers. Whoever wins gets their match against SK Telecom T1 in the semis next week in New York. We've got to see who it is. Here we go with Game 4.
All right, we are in it right now. EDG gets that Game 3 win, and now pay attention to Clearlove in the early game, because he has been mostly a non-factor for most of this series. Last game, they got away with it because, as the analyst desk was mentioning, Scout was doing the ganking role for this team. That is not necessarily an option with Jace this time. So, if EDG want to be able to get an early game foothold, Clearlove has to find a way to get an advantage on Peanut, who has been so dominant this series.
Clearlove has had strong performances on Lee Sin, more so in 2015, especially in spring. It was one of his best champions as they took a big season into MSI and won that tournament. So it's definitely no stranger in terms of champion pool for Clearlove, but I agree with what you're saying. Scout's gone exhaust. He needs the combat summoner for mid lane. So if anything, Kuro has a pretty significant roam advantage, especially when he gets the second point in the ultimate. So it's going to be on Clearlove to actually be the ganking jungler that he sometimes is.
And a clutch play by Kuro 1. He switched his Keystone Mastery despite playing the same champion, so was made aware of his mistake, and well, his damage is even higher than the last game.
He was undefeated on Fervor Battle Rumble. I mean, he's trying his chances now. Nah, it's definitely the right mastery here with Deathfire Touch.
And let's see how this game unfolds. Top lane leash for Edward Gaming, of course. Kuro gonna pull in for Clearlove. Meanwhile, the solo blue buff once again for Peanut. Actually throws his axe too far, and he's gonna be slow. Well, you mentioned it's his first ever competitive Olaf game, and he's now slowed down.
Yeah, he's played a lot of it. It was even banned against him because of the solo queue records on it, and I assume some scrim knowledge these teams have, but not a great start. Nice thing about Olaf, though, is when you're lower in health, you do clear faster, so
I'm sure if you asked Peanut, that was all calculated. It was all about falling low and getting the clear.
Because clearly, you can't have the axe on cooldown if you want to get to low health.
Never, Jack.
Well,
he's going to be juggling pretty fast now. He does get attack speed the lower he is.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to just like cut through this camp. Like, here we go. There you go. Like 2 attacks per second, no big deal.
Is he going to actually chug one of those potions? I guess not.
You actually don't want
stay
to.
Low.
As long as you don't think you're getting counter jungled, optimally you don't potion up at all in Olaf.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah, and judging what he's seen from Clearlove thus far, I mean, it's actually, in a normal sense, a really risky play because Lee Sin would actually want to counter jungle the Olaf early because he likes to be so low. Not to mention they got a Jason as Raptor camp, so Peanut would be really scared right now. Clearlove just doing a normal clear. Hitting his red in level 3.
I really like that scouting ward from Jace, just because if he tried to go for that full clear, just brute force through all the camps, would have just died to an EQ, you'd have to think. So smarter him to get that information. Moves around it, but power farming for Peanut in the early game.
A very interesting actual situation for Clearlove. He, I believe if I have this right, he was leashed, of course, his Gromp as normal, saved Smite for the Wolf camp so that he knows if Peanut ever counter jungles the blue that he's trying to take late. And now Clearlove can give like a 4-minute blue buff over to Scout. Also know that's not being stolen by the Olaf with Peanut because of the Wolf Spirit. And I don't think I've actually seen that exact jungle pattern before, but it's very smart from Clearlove.
I mean, things have become so predictable. Everyone was passing over their blue buff if they were non-mana users. Previously, people craved blue on the first clear from Lee Sin just for the energy regen to power through the camps, not the fastest jungler in that way. Yeah. Peanut's still here, though.
But also keep in mind, he smites the Wraith Spirit, or the Wolf Spirit so early, it expires. Peanut can still go in for the counter jungling. Clearlove also seeing an empty jungle. So Peanut, another smart thing he did is while he jungled at very low health, as soon as he was done his clear, he drank the health potion, so he was full health before the invade.
Clearlove saw the Gromp respawn, so has a very precise idea now of what the camps were in order from Peanut. But Peanut does get that lead, so ROX Tigers more access to neutral minions in the early game.
And we'll see right now, it's Smeb doing as we expect, shoving up in the top lane, getting a lot done here. Mako and Deft in a bit of danger right now. Nice root coming in from Gorilla. Shots back and forth, but it's still a Nami lane. It's pretty easy to resuscitate the health bars here in this one. Mako should not be in too big a danger. The AD carries 6 apart. Deft does have a lead.
Yeah, the main thing they have to worry about is the all-in. For now, they're just trying to eat as much harass and still shove the lane while not dying. So another Smite to keep track of Peanut. Clear Love definitely a somewhat defensively Sin early up against the Olaf.
Yep, but that is 2 camps taken away for the 1 camp taken from Peanut. So it's a small individual gold lead for Clear Love. Peanut continues to be tracked on this board as well. And now they will know the ROX Tigers jungler must be topside.
Yeah, we shouldn't be surprised that he has the defensive mindset, even if he plays champions like Nidalee that only came to his pool in 2016. You know, it's more of the Athenes, Nidalee, the tankier, the supportive. The same story with the Lee Sin. It's not in any way the same mindset. That's why it's such a fascinating matchup between Clear Love and Peanut, because they don't share styles, but of course, given the small meta pool of junglers, they do share champion pools.
What these guys can do here. Smeb once again in the trade with Koro. Nice stun picked up there, and it's +8 for the ROX Tigers. AD carries the lanes reset.
And this is just so risky right now by EDG because Clear Love got river control for the bottom side jungle, but Peanut actually isn't even close to that, so they've lost control of their top side jungle where Koro is getting shoved in and pretty heavily poked. Clear Love trying to make his way back in here. Most popular smite of the game, for sure.
Very, very intelligent, tracking the opposing junglers when they're in their own side of the map, and Clear Love will actually be tracked going for this Gromp and aggroes it, and it's going to fight Peanut.
That was clever, actually, because if he's not the closest one to the Gromp will path to the next closest player. So it's kind of using the Gromp to be his own wolf spirit to show that Peanut's there.
Yeah, 1 wolf spirit each. So evenness.
Again, doing it again, and he again knows where Peanut is. Keep
the
in mind,
ultimate support jungler.
Lee Sin Q gives vision of its target, so Clear Love twice in a row tracks Peanut with these plays, and Peanut says, all right, I get it, you're doing this to me, and hops out.
I mean, Clear Love finds new and innovative ways not to gank, just to vision.
Hey man, we're making a positive point about Clear Love for the first time this series. Let it breathe a little bit.
All right, look at this though. Honestly, a pretty substantial lead for the Edward Gaming duo as well. They're actually not going to recall, which is interesting because they were clearly on BF Sword Gold right here for the Caitlyn, but deciding a +6 minion farm is not enough. They're going to wait for the next wave as well. This will let them recall in front of a cannon minion wave if they do get pushed in by ROX Tigers afterwards. And in fact, this actually creates a situation where Edward Gaming will get a better recall because of the minion waves that they're going to be recalling against, essentially.
So if they get the lead on level 6, it would have been just the ultimate there to potentially take down, but as you mentioned, it's more about the minion wave and getting in the favorable spot. So nice little stuff from EDG.
Yeah, Frey actually having to stick around, make sure the wave doesn't over the crash, has to recall on the cannon wave. Interesting, actually, how Kuro had a pretty ideal recall timing.
Yeah.
Catalyst and Tier 7 minutes in, whereas Scout has gone for the serrated Dirk and looking for a little bit of extra punch early, but still probably going towards the Tier build.
Yeah, he's actually got that Mana Crystal in. He knew he wanted to get himself some individual power, some immediate power with the serrated Dirk. He could have obviously finished here if he wanted to, so yes, it will be the more scaling of the Jace builds, but some immediate power in the laning phase.
He also went exhaust, something we didn't mention. We noticed that Scout went exhaust, but it's gone exhaust for his own trades in mid. Gorilla went ignite, so for a bit of lane control. That buys them 5-10 CS because the threat of the laning summoner and ignite just helps out Prey. Then it's probably a valuable trade, but double exhaust for Kennen is great stuff from EDG.
Yeah, exactly. And the ignite in the laning phase, especially when you're up against a Nami, is just so you have a little bit of all-in potential, because the Nami Caitlyn isn't going to burst you down. They're going to wear you out. So the way you try and stop them from doing that is to have kill threat in lane and that extra tick of damage when you do get the gank. So I agree with the choice from the ROX Tigers. There's not many targets they really care about exhausting in teamfights or be able to reach with the exhaust. So I think the proper summoner spell choice really across the board.
That's going to be the root, nearly letting out a death. Ignite is in. Here comes the fight. Mako's going to tank it, and he lands the bubble. Now the re-engage. Exhaust on a Gorilla who does have flash. Clear Love holding onto the kick. He's not going to go for the Q for a very long time. Lands it on a Prey, and that just feels like a completely fumbled gank.
Felt like he overthought it. Now we see some other fighting on the map.
Trade of exhaust the 2 mid laners. They're going to walk back pretty cleanly either way, though, and both holding their flashes regardless. Once again, trading back and forth. Prey shot at. Ult is going to land as well. 200 HP, 300 left on the ROX Tigers AD carry.
And when you kick a player on Lee Sin, you can get a guaranteed Q, especially when it's up against a wall like that. I have no idea why Clear Love would wait on that play unless he was afraid of being flashed into the turret. But they do burn summoner spells, they don't get the kill.
They don't even get that much lane dominance either. You're seeing the overall gold game be +200 for ROX Tigers. They are laning better as a team, but the re-engage on Gorilla means nothing because suddenly Peanut is here on the Olaf, a flash forced out of Clear Love, but he is still chasing on the Deft, who's nearly out of HP. The chase in for Prey. First blood, that's 2 for Peanut. It might be a 3rd, and the re-engage for Koro 1. Can he do much of anything. It doesn't seem like a lot. Peanut very, very low. Slicing Maelstrom. Smeb says, don't you dare go for my teammates. Another one. ROX Tigers 4-1.
And it's an extension of the play earlier where EDG couldn't get the secure. ROX is then there for the counter gank, and that's exactly what Peanut wanted.
Just such a different mindset between junglers also. You watch Peanut. It was a really nice play from EDG. You understand what they were going for, but Peanut's in the exact right spot. Pops the ultimate. First game on Olaf. Was smart to hold the Ragnar to exactly when he used it. And from there, so many low health members, and Prey so aggressive on the Jhin.
Yeah, Deft actually saves his flash quite a long while. Thought they had a chance in that fight, but everyone was really in full retreat mode. So he took too much damage before flashing away, allowed the flash follow from the ROX Tigers, and that's a happy play for the ROX
And you
Tigers.
speak of allowances. Kuro actually made the faster roam, walked over a pink ward, and Jace stayed anchored to mid. Now, of course, Realm Warp is a lot more useful in getting to bot than the acceleration gate, but Jace could have matched it to some degree. Scout decided to stay mid, and 4-for-1 is pretty damn big lead for ROX.
Right now it's 1,500 gold. ROX Tigers definitely can feel very nice about this 10 minutes in.
A different team is like, wait, 3 kills onto Olaf, but ROX is happy with this.
Yeah, exactly. It's a quick Cinderhulk as well as the Ionian Boots of Lucidity in there. Looking for roams with that Rise.
Looking for a lot of damage on Deft as well. You can see how difficult it is to be up against Prey and Gorilla. Definitely two excellent players here. Kuro and Scout still trading blows in the mid lane. Their actual laning phase has been almost identical. It's the fact that Kuro was able to roam down for an assist in the bot lane that's been a big differentiator here. Mako is going to get rooted up into a lot more skill shots landing onto him, but that's a trap eaten by Gorilla. The flashless Karma, Clearlove looking for a bit more, dodging away from the tidal wave though, and that is nothing to be gained. And here's the curtain call, and it could be just that for Edward Gaming. Clearlove gonna get sniped, you expect it to happen, and that is the kill picked up once again to Peanut. They're giving it to the Olaf, 4-0 now, the jungler.
And a really obvious gank there by EDG that was not having a very high conversion rate. Peanut is so far ahead of the game right now. He's knowing he's stronger 1v1 than Lee Sin right now. And he's thinking about the potential gank paths for Clearlove. Does he gank a Jace or a Rumble? Neither of them have good follow-up CC in these situations, so he just waits bottom lane for the inevitable play and turns it around.
Look at this one right there, actually. Smeb not even getting hit by the equalizer. That would have been quite a bit of damage. Either way, it is the minion wave cleared.
But this is the evolution of Peanut. Spring season, he had the famous game that everyone took notice of where he rendered the enemy Spenu jungler flawless, buffless, not granting him a single buff on the map. He was the battle ward, but he's turned into a smarter jungler in some. He's more about pathing, more about predicting the counter ganks, and he's just in the right spot at the right time. He's not forcing enemy movements like he used to, but in situations like this, the team benefits just as much.
Yeah, and just a strong play by ROX overall. Yes, Scout knocked Kuro out of that Realm Warp, but I don't think it was going to make much of a difference. The damage had been done. Prey and Gorilla staying back far enough, allowing their incredibly fed jungler to be the front line that really EDG can't fight against right now with just a BF sword and a recurve bow on their AD carry.
Definitely does not seem easy. A difficult road ahead right now for Edward Gaming. 2,000 gold there deficit. ROX Tigers, though, looking to punch their ticket into the semifinals off of some incredible play so far from
No, he's flashless.
Trying to turn it around, kicks him into the wall. Gonna wait on the Q and lets him dodge away. Clearlove having a terrible series so far, but it's still gonna be an easy kill because Deft is there to secure it. The ultimate was all that they needed, and now the race is on for first turret.
Yeah, this EDG sacking bot lane. They just decide to go top, they get a kill, even if it's a trade of turrets. Nice, aggressive, assertive move by EDG.
Yeah, and it's not even a sacking of bot lane. This is just a winning of the lane in a sense because they get the first turret and they get the kill onto Deft, which is exactly what they need if they want to be able to kill Peanut in the late game.
Meanwhile, you're seeing Scout push off his turret in the mid lane. Gorilla roamed up. You've got
They're gonna keep
Peanut
pushing
here as well. Yeah, and this is a much faster race right now. Look at how much pressure Edward Gaming's putting on the map. ROX Tigers not willing to commit any defense at all, and now the gold is back to Tide. Edward Gaming, yes, this turret will be killed on the bot lane. Good by Prey to stick it through and knock this down, but this game got a lot closer.
But given the butt up in the killing fields, I think that's definitely the right move by EDG. They managed to get out of what was very hairy laning phase. They also had the Berserker Greaves, the recurve bow, the very standard Hurricane after BF sword. Caitlyn build, and they just pushed forward, and ROX not in a position to answer.
Yeah, definitely the right map call by EDG in that situation. It can potentially even make Poro's life a little bit safer as Smeb's gonna have a lot more space that he needs to push up in that wave.
See how much pressure he actually applies, though, because this could actually be a no farm zone now for Rumble. He decides to just hold the wave at top. He has teleport. Again, that is exploitable. This is more of an old strategy, but for now, no way for Rumble to enter lane.
Looking for the equalizer onto the back line because they want to knock down Prey, but Gorilla is already there to defend him. Koro had the option of just playing wave clear. Instead, he went for that. Another chunk on a Gorilla. Keep in mind that there's no Drake to play for, though, so this damage might mean almost nothing.
Yeah, agreed. The Drake not up for another little while. Smeb is pushing up that top lane. It's not the type of laner that likes to freeze, especially because they want to have that teleport play possible. Interesting as well that there's no gank lined up for this large wave to crash into the turret. It's going to be pretty nice for Koro as long as he doesn't get one-man over by Smeb.
Great. A lot of safety in pushing. There was actually 3 pink wards at that point around top. One of them's been placed around Drake now, with that spawning in a couple of minutes. But safety for Smeb. I imagine it's probably going to be big item purchase here. Yeah, there is the Proto Belt.
And this is the fear in team fights as well. There's no cleanses on EDG. They don't have much magic resistance yet, especially on Deft.
Just worry.
Close on him. That's the fight.
We're at the bot side. Olaf has been able to get very aggressive wards for the aforementioned cannon flank. He's now got level 2 in the Slicing Maelstrom. EDG have to be very smart about clearing wards when they start to fight for an objective like Drake.
Smeb will definitely be scary. He's building towards what I think to be an Abyssal Scepter, which will help him and Kuro do plenty to this Edward Gaming lineup, as eventually that item will come through, and life can be difficult. Kuro, the only real magic damage dealer of the team, but building for the matchup nonetheless, I guess, a little bit here. You're seeing the various lane assignments now. The Rise, the Jace, down to the bot side. Both AD carries. Deft and Prey holding on to the mid, and the top lane as expected, but 1,400 gold puts ROX Tigers ahead, and they are continuing to pressure heavily into the mid lane. They are always the ones pushing this wave in first. Their resource bar is always topped off by the Ocean Drake, and looking for the next big opening into this game.
Yeah, and it does seem like they're on a very minor timer in a sense that Peanut at 4-0 wants to be as effective as he can on Olaf before Deft can start getting the 80% crit type Caitlyn builds that can shred through him. But they have still a long time until that happens. So it's about capitalizing on these wards they've been able to get on the bottom side, maybe even using a Realm Warp and just stopping EDG from scaling up in the spots that matter.
See what else they can grab for this one. Of course, we still have plenty of cash on this Caitlyn. 6,200 gold, actually the highest in the game, not acceptable, except for Olaf. Peanut's got the most gold, Deft's got the second most in the game right now. Maybe those two can be the ones to continue the carrying. Now, typically, Olaf is considered a jungler that will fall off in the late game, that eventually just the ball of stats doesn't mean as much when everyone else has the items. If this keeps going super late, I do feel like there's Edward Gaming has the tools they need, but it's ROX Tigers still pulling the trigger, looking for the dive.
For the counter gank.
They've got the dive, they've got the kill into Koro. Now it's about the counter gank. How much can EDG do 4v5? Peanut, kind of on the wrong side of this one, trying to run away back through the turret. He's going to be just fine with it. That is a cleanly executed gank, and the escape afterwards. Great job by ROX Tigers.
And such a great job by Peanut there, knowing how tanky he is, running at EDG to buy his teammates time to retreat, and then running at himself because he knows the duration of his ghost. Just, they get the kill and get out, even though EDG was in position for a counter.
That's what happens when you have the extra gold. It's basically a snowball giant spell, and I guess a snowball random was completed already, so he could afford to juke forward, invite aggro, force people like Deft to walk back, and get the rest of his team out safely.
Because this is the play that EDG saw coming. Look, the whole team is right there, but Kuro dies, doesn't have his ultimate up. They completely dodge away from the tidal wave, and then watch Peanut. They have to respect him for going in like a madman, and that allows the rest of ROX to be able to run away, and they also can't stop Peanut yet because they just don't have the damage.
They really don't. He is huge, and the major carry force is a crit-focused AD carry in his Caitlyn, and Randu and Zoman, the best item you could possibly buy against that type of champion. So, itemization so far on point as well, and he's building even more armor because as long as you survive Deft and Scout, you're good.
And I think that Peanut is one of the big beneficiaries of this world's Olaf meta, because before it was at least Nidalee, those two champions banned against him, and the next level was the Rek'Sai. His Gragas was decent, but not wonderful. The thing about a Olaf is you can kind of mimic the playstyle of a Nidalee in terms of actually getting in the enemy jungler's base, having a skirmish advantage, and putting down aggressive vision. When you have this snowball on Olaf, you can get in there, deny away enemy camps, play as aggressively as Peanut likes to play, and it feels like a great third champion to his top 2 picks.
See, the cupcake wall is up for Deft. It's Edward Gaming still trying to defend their mid lane outer turret. EDG still hold the turret lead. Theoretically, they can open up more of the map themselves because of that, but ROX Tigers, much more gold, better farm on several members here. You're seeing plus 30 for the top lane, plus 10 for their jungle, as well as that 4 kill lead. Still has ROX Tigers, the squad, in the driver's seat. Kuro once again looking for a Realm Warp, we assume, from the Baron pit.
Yeah, there's just a smattering of wards for EDG within their jungle. So as Gorilla moves in to try and get some harass, they're kind of tipping them off. ROX is looking to feast on Koro, but they have to be careful not to extend too far because this game is actually pretty close right now, and they really need to find a way of getting onto Deft and Scout in these team fights.
Actually closer than the game looks, just because I believe Prey is sitting on a lot of unspent gold. I think he wants to go back for the complete buy.
Catch on to Deft, though.
Deft is in a bad spot. Flashes. Mako's gonna block it. Oh, he almost failed to. And Deft should stay alive through this. Curtain call ends. That was a very near kill picked up, and Prey actually had the opportunity to land that final bullet just barely. This mid lane turret nearly dead, though. Edward Gaming gonna lose this shortly, I believe. ROX Tigers have done a great job of making that happen. Nice fancy feat by Peanut. Gets away from the bubble. Doesn't have to burn his ulti.
Yeah.
Turret's getting lower and lower.
Prey also out of mana, though, forced to recall. The wave clear on this EDG team is pretty exceptional with the Caitlyn and the Jace, not to mention the Rumble if he's there as well. But the map pressure is what's doing it. You cannot necessarily wave clear all the waves at once if ROX is attacking turrets.
Yeah, the moment that you draw multiple members to mid, the moment it can't just be the Caitlyn, suddenly Rise pokes out the top tower. Kennen had free time on the bot lane minion wave, pushed that in. So while it wasn't the premium they wanted, which is the mid lane turret, they are inching closer and closer to growing a gold lead. It's only 3,000 though so far for ROX Tigers.
Still definitely decent. 2-0 and breaks as well. Ocean and Cloud let you play the long drawn out, play the map, regen up, out rotate. That's kind of been how ROX Tigers are playing this one, is getting around, looking for these side lane kills. Perfect kill participation for Peanut, just finding his way into these side lanes, into these kills, killing almost everybody on the lineup.
Yeah, and you're still kind of waiting for ROX Tigers to turn it on. They're slowly chipping away at the turrets, but when EDG have had enough and they try and stand next to the turret and push it out, that's when Smeb can come in the backside or Kuro can Realm Warp in, and they can speed them up with the Karma to try and go and make those big plays that really break open the game.
Yeah, for now, EDG are happy with the pace the game is being played on. They haven't seen their mid lane turret go down. We haven't seen solo kills from Kennen, but consider that the snowboard member is Olaf building armor, as Mako has to flash away. Olaf can be a soul tank.
Ulti gonna be burned just to land a bit of a slow, but Peanut pops the ult, but he's still gonna go for this chase. The Ragnarok is on, and Mako gonna run out of HP entirely. That is just unafraid diving. Great kill picked up there. Good job by Peanut.
And Peanut now with another kill. He is so tanky solo that he can actually take the Baron. We haven't seen early Barons because we haven't had frontline tanks like this Olaf to take them early, but this is the sort of game where they can actually look for a Baron to proc.
Oh, the axe landed, meaning Deft got rooted. He gets deleted, and it's Fem who wants a little bit more. Scout running out of health. One more shot would get him, and no one blocks the shot. Clear Love, what are you doing? Another kill picked up. That's 3-0 long term for ROX Tigers in absolute control.
And that's the moment when they turn it on. Clear Love lands one axe onto Mako in the jungle, and the play just chains after that to kills, to triple kills, to multiple turrets. ROX Tigers, look at that, 6,000 gold.
Ability of this team to turn it on and accelerate out of seemingly nowhere, a single axe from Peanut. We're watching it on your screen. I was talking about a potential Baron. Suddenly, they have so much of a lead with so many objectives, the Baron is even more trivial right now.
And such a small amount of hesitation from Peanut right there after Mako flashes over the wall. He says, wait a minute, I'm a giant Olaf. I can run around this wall faster than he can flash it. He manages to catch up because he's got the Karma helping. And then, this is also EDG trying to stay at the turret to defend. And it's just the skill shots landing from ROX to be able to get this. The axe lands as the root happens, perfect, and that triggers the rest of the dive.
2 axes change the course of this game. We're kind of talking about the struggles of Clear Love to have that sort of impact, but that's making it work, and that 100% kill participation you alluded to, Freak, it's not ending anytime soon.
Doesn't seem to be. Everything that Peanut touches turns into gold. He's King Midas himself, just farming enemy champions as much as he's farming every buff on the map. Now Clear Love gonna lose his red buff, and it's going from bad to worse rapidly now for Edward Gaming. ROX Tigers almost looking angry, saying, oh, okay, you took a game from us? Never again. And they have been smashing this one open.
And we were hoping to see a return to normalcy for the ROX Tigers after that Game 3 where they picked the Fiora even though it didn't really fit with the team composition, got punished by EDG. They have to respect EDG for that, for being able to punish them on that, but now they're back into more of the picks that fit their playstyle.
The viewers might ask why, chat. Why are we looking for the steady in Game 4? Why not just hope for that cool Game 5? And the reason is that we want to hold ROX Tigers to that standard we did pre-tournament. We want to hold them as a team that can take it all down. And how they react from a loss where clearly they took a couple of luxuries in the pick and ban and fell down, this is how they reply.
And the shot is there on Mako. He's got nowhere to go. Chopped down yet again. Peanut is godlike and playing like it absolutely. Kerr would have health. That's fine. Who cares about that one? ROX Tigers have killed the support once again. Mako 0 and 3 on this Nami. And here comes the attempt to bait Baron Nashor.
Yeah, keep taking the kills if you're Peanut because you're doing work with it. There they come, they get on a scout.
Scout's done so, there's the Rune Prison, and there's the kill picked up. Peanut
legendary
with another one. He's legendary, he's 8 and 0. Clear Love running for dear life through his own jungle. Ward hops through, okay, he's fine, he lives, but still more territory ceded by Edward Gaming, more of it taken by ROX Tigers.
And they're going to continue to run this play. They have vision control in the river, and they have a huge tank who can take a lot of hits from the Baron. EDG has to abandon it, and ROX is going to take it no problem.
Two things that have come for this series for ROX Tigers are not the things I expected coming into it. The first one was the Aurelion Soul, now suddenly a must ban or a considered ban against Kuro, but the other one, Peanut, mention it, this is the third best of 5 of all time. First one, spring season final, really out-jungled by Blank, of all people. His next one, the summer final, was out-jungled by Score. They still won the series, but Peanut was a liability. Third best of 5, he has hard carried the series for ROX Tigers.
And especially if they're able to complete this against EDG and then move on to SKT, that experience and confidence will carry through a lot, I think. And it's very important that they get the wins under their belt and realize that they can do it in a high-pressure situation. Because while ROX is an incredibly loose team, they play in a very fun fashion, that hasn't necessarily transitioned as consistently as they would want into the big matches.
And we knew 4 ROX Tigers could do it at the World because they were around last year. Peanut is the final piece of that puzzle. He is what has taken them to the next level, and him showing it in this series, suddenly you have 5 members who are ready for a semifinals of Worlds.
And what an incredible player, too. Peanut comes, in a way, out of nowhere at the beginning of the year. And by the time World starts, the thought is Peanut the best jungler in the world? Already in his, first year professional play. And now he's bodying Clear Love in this best of 5, who is potentially the other sort of hallmark to that. And Peanut continues to excel.
The question is answered, Freak. There is no one playing anywhere near the level of Peanut at this Worlds from the jump.
I agree completely. Peanut is an absolute monster. He is now literally carrying ROX Tigers on his back here in the 4th game in this one. 8-0 in 3. Perfect scoreline here on the Olaf. Practically invincible. And it's ROX Tigers looking for what could be their final push. Peanut is on the hunt. He wants to kill off Scout. Gets knocked back to the Thundering Blow, but it's still a turret being destroyed.
Yeah, loses the Ghost, but the ROX push will continue. They have Cannon in one lane, Frey and the rest of the team in the other. And Peanut, because the Karma is also supporting him and because he has his ultimate, can maintain a certain level of aggression. ROX know, though, they have a 12,000 gold lead, don't need to take too many liberties. This win will get that matchup with SKT that they've wanted.
It looks almost certain now. 11,000 gold up. It would require a miracle for Edward Gaming to turn this one around. They haven't shown those signs of life. Here we go. On to the inhibitor. The turret's already dead. Baron buff is already on. They've got everything they need, ROX Tigers, to push through on this one. Looking for just a little bit more. Another snipe's gonna land on a Coral. The axe is there. Peanut decided to chill a little bit, not push too hard. But Kuro is splitting. He's knocking on the bottom inhibitor turret as well. Peanut joins him. That is now 8 turrets for ROX Tigers as it falls.
And this is one of the big problems for EDG in this game, is they just have no way of pulling the trigger and making initiation happen. They're a poke siege comp that has fallen very far behind, and their initiator has been underperforming to an extreme degree. Clearlove would be the one that has to go in, but he hasn't even been able to kick someone into a queue, let alone do an insect play.
There's the exhaust, and it's Smeb diving into this one, getting the health bars low. Robo does much of nothing, but it does bait the bubble out of Mako. But it's all of EDG now stuck on their fountain as the inhibitors are falling. Those can't run away, and they don't heal nearly as fast. 2 inhibs down. ROX ROX Tigers say, great, that's enough for us. Let's take the Inspire Shield and we'll reset.
Yeah, the Baron buff was about to time out, so smart. They got their 2 objectives. Go spend some gold. Head up for the Drake. If you really need it, pick up an exit red buff. So, ROX Tigers, 13,000 gold. We penciled in their names to face SKT after game 2, and they decide, no, play another game. But I think we can start putting it with ink now for that semi-final.
Yeah, and such a performance by Peanut in this game as well. Definitely learning some things about the pick and ban phase throughout these quarterfinals. In a small extent, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills when people aren't prioritizing Aurelion Sol, because he seems to just superpower some of these teams that have a weakness in the mid lane, whether it's pressure or control, and Aurelion Sol just patches those so effortlessly, it seems. And in this series, as soon as Aurelion Sol is banned, things kind of get back to normal. Kuro, while he does have a pressure advantage, it's not an insane one, and the rest of ROX can just kind of play their game. This is the ROX Tigers that we kind of expected to see. Peanut run all over the place, and Smeb has been effective, but it's really been the Peanut show. And
look, historically, if you look back at this tournament a year's time, you can be like, yeah, but it was the ROX Tigers playing their game. But we know, living in the moment, that there wasn't these sort of performances to counterbalance some of their very weak performances in week 1. They earn the right for you to say they're having some fun in the draft in game 3 by winning game 1 and game 2 as cleanly as they did. And then now, by sticking that level of performance, playing this level of game in game 4, only now can you say, okay, SK Telecom, this team's going to be no walkover.
Not much left in their way. This could be the winning push right here. 2 inhibitors down, plenty of gold in their pockets, and Smeb poised to make the flank play. Scout's the one who's wearing the exhaust. He's got to be the one to keep their team from being evaporated when Smeb does choose to go in. Gorilla's poke comes through. Another root on the Coral 1. Doesn't mean enough, though. Not yet diving.
Yeah, it's interesting how ROX is prepping this because they don't have the Baron buff to keep that minion wave alive. So instead, they're trying to kind of escort the 2 super minions into the Nexus turret, which will pull EDG off and then draw that wave clear to threaten to dive and prevent the wave clear from hitting that other turret, and it's working quite well.
And with Scout down at the Nexus turret, this might be the wave as it comes through. Scout's still down there, and this turret get to the attack, but they're going to eat up the traps, and here comes the play. They've brought in Smeb. He's the back line, and Scout's nowhere to be seen. They're getting evaporated, assassinated in the lightning storm. This is all they could possibly need. Clear Love running out of house. Scout nearly just nothing to do anymore. Jumps back towards the fountain. Who even cares? It's Peanut who actually stays alive. They flash to keep him up in this one, and this should be the game cleanly as ROX Tigers take a 4-for-1. They'll be taking the series 3-1 as the turrets fall. It's going to be the rematch of Worlds last year. ROX hoping to get revenge on SK Telecom T1 as Peanut is the best juggler in the world. ROX Tigers back on form, hoping to win a world championship.
11-0 and 5 Olaf. As I said at the start of the game, other junglers, when they get the first 3 kills of the game on the Lee Sins, on the Olafs, you're like, I don't know about this, but when Peanut picks them up, you know that he's going to transform a game as he did here, and the ROX Tigers are ecstatic.
He feels real good about that one. In clinching games, Peanut has been crushing double-digit kills on multiple occasions, and the crowd chanting his name for good reason.
Peanut gave an interview. He thought it'd be so cool to have his name said on the world stage, chanted out here by the crowd. He'll feel great, and EDG, they got the steadying victory. They did not lose 3-0, but the gulf between these 2 teams was clear.
This time last year, nobody knew who Peanut was. This time this year, everybody knows Peanut is the king of the jungle. ROX Tigers are back on form. The squad that continued to win Korean regular seasons and couldn't find the actual championship finally did so this split. Coming into Worlds, ooh, what is happening in the group stage? But finally in this best of five find their footing, and they are an amazing team to behold. And this is now the team that is back on form that maybe is, again, the favorites for the World Championship.
Exactly, and I'm really happy the Peanuts had so many standout performances here fairly early on at the World Championship in the grand scheme of things, because so much can just focus on Smeb or Prey, the experienced one, but it's Peanut, the newest player on the team, and it's kind of showing us why he did transform this team into the best team in Korea from someone who was just competing at the top level. And he jungles like